they also, like I was saying, the only reason why I found out about this is because I was looking through my email to see what my redress, I found my trip redress from the Department of Homeland Security, where 2 days ago on Monday, June 19th, I got an email that said, "Thank you for submitting your request for redress to the Department of Homeland Security Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, DHS TRIP. DHS TRIP has researched and completed its review of the redress case for Hasan Piker." And then it tells you to go and access your account on the website. Okay. Or June 9th. Sorry, not 19th. I apologize. June 9th. Okay. And basically, the entire letter for the trip redress inquiry is just, it's like more obscure. It is more obscure than like a Twitch TOS ban. Okay. You know how people complain about Twitch not giving you information, like detailed information on why you got banned and shit? It is literally identical to the TOS sheet that they send you, if you're lucky at all to receive one, after getting fucking suspended from Twitch. Okay? It basically just offered me a wholesale list of reasons for why people get stopped. Okay, I'm gonna read it to you right now. Dear Hasan Piker, wait, hold on. I pulled it up. Hold on, I'll just pull it up again. Hold on. I'm gonna hide some of the information on it though. Hold on. I know the background music is still on. Hold on. Hold on. And that's the final determination letter. Here's the CBP letter. Okay. I had to use the snipping tool, chat. Okay. Hold up. Pictures, screenshots. Okay. Okay, so here it is. Let's pull this up like here. Redact everything. No, it's just my address. I don't want to other additional information. Okay. Dear Hasan Piker, thank you for submitting your traveler inquiry form and identity documentation to the Department of Homeland Security Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, DHS TRIP. DHS's mission is to lead the unified national efforts to secure the country, including U.S. border and transportation security. We take requests for redress seriously, and we understand the inconveniences that additional inspections may cause. DHS strives to process travelers in the most efficient and professional manner possible without compromising our mission to safeguard the United States, its people, and its visitors. When DHS TRIP receives a redress inquiry, we conduct a thorough review of the matter. We consult and share information with other agencies when appropriate to relieve you from the burden of seeking redress of an agency-by-agency basis to address the issue that you identified in your application. We have found about 2% of DHS TRIP complainants actually have some connection to the terrorist watch list. Complaints most often arise either because the traveler's name and personal information is similar to the name and personal information of another person in the systems. This is actually what I hear most often from people. No. They're not saying I am fucking related to the terrorist watch list. This is just a copy-paste statement that everybody gets. Okay? Calm down before you misunderstand it. This is literally just like this is a blanket statement that everyone receives when they write a complaint. This is all it is. It's boilerplate. It's not specific to me. You guys are failing to understand. Complaints most often arise because the traveler's name and personal information is similar to the name and personal information of another person in systems which contain information from federal, state, local, and foreign sources, or because the traveler has been delayed in travel for reasons unrelated to such data, such as by random screening. DHS TRIP has researched and completed our review of your case. DHS TRIP, this part is amazing, can neither confirm nor deny any information about you which may be within federal watch lists or reveal any law enforcement sensitive information. However, we have made any corrections to records that our inquiries determined were necessary, including, as appropriate, notations that may assist in avoiding incidents of misidentification. For your general information, here's how redress helps you when traveling. It's like, again, that's just general information. Give me why I got fucking... Like, I'm asking why I got specifically detained, and they're just like, listen, we can't confirm or deny what it is, but we've made necessary changes. Okay? When traveling by air or within the United States, DHS recommends that you provide your redress control number located at the top of this letter when making your reservations. Providing this information will help prevent misidentifications from occurring during security checks against government records and other information. Now, my name is Hasan Piker. I know that I am not, I know that my name is not getting dinged on any sort of watch list because it's like similar to someone who's already on a terrorist watch list or something, okay? Because that is very common. I've asked like a bunch of people, a lot of Muslims, okay, who have, especially like Arab names, that will oftentimes get stopped for this reason. Hasan Piker is not a common name at all. I mean, Hasan is, but Piker is a very unique last name. I know this because my grandfather literally chose it, okay? My grandfather chose it. In the surname revolution in Turkey. Not exactly a common last name. Anyway, when traveling by air within the United States, providing this information will help prevent misidentifications from occurring during security checks against government records and other information. In most online reservation systems, your redress control number may be entered at the same time you enter your full name and date of birth. When entering the United States from abroad, no additional action is required. Where appropriate, as a result of the redress process, the DHS employs a procedure to correct the information used to process travelers at the ports of entry that reduces the chance of misidentifications occurring. There's the second page here, which is really funny. Despite these positive efforts, we cannot ensure your travel will be delay-free. The redress process does not affect other standard screening procedures in place at airports and borders. For example, an individual may be selected for additional screening in order to resolve a walk-through metal detector alarm because of random selection or other reasons. While this process may sometimes be stressful, we rely on the patience and cooperation and understanding of travelers in such cases. This is just boilerplate, okay? In your redress inquiry, you've raised concerns which fall under the purview of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. We attach the CBP's response to you on those specific concerns raised in your redress inquiry. Okay, that was from the Department of Homeland Security. So let's take a look at what the Customs and Border Patrol's response was. Because the previous one we just read was DHS. Okay. Customs and Border Patrol says, wait, hold on. Is this a Mihawk upscale? Take off the fucking jersey, Hasan. Customs and Border Patrol is tasked with protecting our nation's borders as well as enforcing numerous laws, blah, 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 blah. Government agencies, including state and local enforcement. Again, boilerplate. Occasionally, CBP may inconvenience law-abiding persons in an effort to deter. After careful review, we have determined that your global entry program membership was revoked because you don't meet the guidelines of the program for program participation. An individual is ineligible to participate in the trusted traveler programs if Customs and Border Patrol, at its sole discretion, determines that the individual presents a potential risk for terrorism, criminality, violating customs, agriculture, and/or immigration laws, or is otherwise not a low-risk traveler. This risk determination will be based in part on an applicant's ability to demonstrate past compliance with laws, regulations, or policies. Okay? Reasons why an applicant may not qualify for participation include, but is not limited to, this applicant provides false or incomplete information on the application. The applicant has been arrested for or convicted of any criminal offense or is denied firearms transactions, pending criminal charges, protection orders. Applicant has been found in violation of any customs, immigration, or agricultural regulations. Obviously, none of this works for me. Okay? None of these things. This is, again, boilerplate. This is not, they're not saying I'm a terrorist. They're saying that if you are on a watch list, like, these are some of the common reasons as to why people, are no longer eligible to be on it. None of this applies to me. The whole point is that none of this literally fucking applies to me at all. Unless there's something I don't know, like I'm a subject of a ongoing investigation or something. But once again, that would be ridiculous because I am a law-abiding citizen and have never done any crimes whatsoever. So, I wonder if this has something to do with the anti-Israel stuff specifically, because once again, as I told you, I got the application. I applied for global entry and became a known trusted traveler and got global entry. For those of you who don't know, global entry is a Department of Homeland Security protocol where you go there, they look through your whole fucking criminal background, including, like, even if you've ever been arrested, it literally shows up. Even if you've been arrested and it never actually dings on your record because you were arrested 10 years ago, as I was, that still shows up. It's the most comprehensive database that they have. And after looking through that, there's an interview process. You do the interview process. They ask you questions about it, whatever. And they give you a card. I have the card, a known traveler, like a global entry pass. Okay. This card in and of itself is basically like your social security number. It has the same power as your passport. Like, you could literally have this card with you when you're traveling in most circumstances, and it basically plays the same role as a passport or identification. Okay? So they fucking gave me that card and all this stuff. So in any case, it's like Disney Fast Pass. Okay? It's a real ID. It's the same as like a real ID. So global entry is not a passport, but it's to the same, like, I think you can literally, I don't want to misinform people, but I'm pretty sure you can, it plays the same role as a real ID. Like, it plays the same role as like your real ID driver's license. When were you arrested? 2013. It's been a long time ago. It's not. It's irrelevant. And I never got charged or convicted with anything. I never even got prosecuted. But in any case, let's continue. So after a careful review, we determined global entry program membership was revoked because you do not meet the guidelines for the participation. An individual is ineligible to participate in the trusted travel program if CBP at its sole discretion determines the individual potential. We already did that. So they gave me the global entry program. They gave me the access to the global entry program, and then they just fucking revoked it At no point was I informed about this revocation. They didn't even tell me about it in the fucking detention. Okay. Only after I asked this redress inquiry do they reveal this. The Department of Homeland Security itself came out with a statement and they didn't even mention it, which is crazy. And when I'm like, I mean, there's no reason for this revocation to begin with, especially because like I already had it. I had it and they revoked it. I believe in, I mean, no, it wasn't retroactively revoked. It was retroactively revoked regardless, as in it was revoked, but it wasn't retroactively revoked. It was revoked on, I got the conditional approval on 3/29/2024. I got the approval notification on 2/6/2025. I got my card in the mail, under the Trump administration. The revocation happened on the 5th of March, so months ago. Okay? Yeah, I believe global entry just lets officials know that you aren't banned from traveling to any other countries. Some have laws restricting travel for people convicted of certain crimes. No, global entry is a fast pass for land border crossing as well. Yeah. Global entry can be used at the point of entering the country through a land border, and that's what I meant when I said like it basically fills the role of a passport in that regard. Now, like, anyway, so all of this stuff, applicant cannot satisfy CBP or of his or her low risk status or meet other program requirements. So like these are all of the boilerplate reasons as to why they put it in here, like that someone might lose their global entry status. The applicant is the subject of an investigation by any federal, state, or local law enforcement agency in any country. The applicant is inadmissible to the United States under applicable immigration laws or has at any time been granted a waiver of inadmissibility or parole. The applicant is known or suspected of having been engaged in conduct constituting in preparation for, in aid of, or related to terrorism, or it cannot satisfy CBP. So it's discretionary, and they don't even fucking say anything in it. They don't even say anything like the Customs and Border Patrol doesn't actually reveal any real information on why this happened. In the event you are denied or revoked from the Trusted Traveler program, they don't even specify why I was detained. They don't specify why I was detained because part of my inquiry on the redress to Department of Homeland Security's trip was I have global entry, and even then I got stopped. What the fuck is that about? So the Customs and Border Patrol part of this that specifically talks about the global entry says like, oh no, your global entry has been revoked. But they never address why I was stopped to begin with. They never actually address why those questions were asked, because these are the questions that I asked in my inquiry. Okay? In the event you are denied or revoked from the Trusted Traveler program, you'll be provided information in writing detailing the reason for this action. You should carefully review the denial or revocation reasons, and if applicable, submit a detailed information they believe CBP should consider. I can reapply or ask them to reverse this decision, which I might try doing. But considering that I did look into the notification as to why it was revoked, okay, you may request reconsideration through the Trusted Traveler Program application website, which I will do. Okay. It was revoked before it was issued? No. It was issued on 3/29/2024 under the Biden administration. That's when I got a conditional approval. I got a full-blown approval on 2/6/2025, which was under the Trump administration. I got a revocation on the 5th of March in 2025, literally almost a month after I got a full-blown approval and had the card sent to my fucking house. Okay? And at no point did I know that this was taken away. At no point did they actually reveal that it was taken away. Like even when I was detained, they didn't go, "Hey, you don't have global entry." Get your dad to help you out. What the fuck can my dad do, bro? What are you, stupid? So date of denial and reason for the letter they received, all this stuff. This is just basically, again, boilerplate. So everything that I asked for in terms of like inquiry, why the stop happened, what can I do to avoid this kind of disruption to my travel in the future, I have no answers for. I have no answers for whatsoever. I have no answers for why my new guy hit the office, search your name, and exercise their sole discretion to declare you untrustworthy. Okay, I don't know about that. But yeah, they just basically gave like these boilerplate answers. And here is, hold on, you guys didn't see, because I read this from my phone, because I screenshot it from my phone. Hold on. I'll pull up this the trip thing as well, or not the trip thing, the revocation. Hold on. Here it is. Yeah, here is the open in browser. Dear Hasan Piker, thank you for your participation in the Global Entry Program of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Global Entry is a voluntary program available to travelers that pass a comprehensive background investigation. Applicants found to be ineligible for global entry participation may still be permitted to enter into the United States, although they will not be permitted to use the global entry dedicated lanes. We regret to inform you that your membership in the global entry has been revoked for the following reasons. You do not meet program eligibility requirements. First world issues. I mean, I get why you would say that, and I agree. Like, who gives a fuck if I don't have global entry, right? I agree. I'd never had it, and I've been traveling for years and years without having it. But I think getting it and then having it revoked unceremoniously with no fucking reason, like, they don't say what the reason is other than this. Okay? Like, that in and of itself is what makes this interesting. Bro, you should sue the government. Okay, dude, good luck. Get out of here, dude. I don't want to get fucking, I don't want to get like, chatters are so funny. This is not a point in the battle, okay, in the legal battle. I mean, I would like more details as to why this took place. I think that would be interesting to find out more information on. But as far as like not having global entry, like, that's insignificant and inconsequential. I'm more so worried about, you already know the reason, ... You're an idiot. Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, that's what it is. The American government doesn't allow stupid people to enter the country, famously. Also, you're an idiot. So, I don't know, man. It's pretty obvious that some TPSA dipshit that works at DHS recognized your name and went, fuck that guy. I mean, I have had the Department of Homeland Security Deputy Director, Tricia McLaughlin, refer to me by name. So I think that they are aware of who I am. But I guess my point is, it's the clown show that this is. You know what I mean? It's the clown show of this entire process that is frustrating, and it is the lack of transparency. Like, these are things that American institutions used to at least hold up, right? There was an infallibility to the institutions, or at least like a process. Even this process of like redress, right? Going to the Department of Homeland Security and being like, why was I detained? How can I stop this from happening again? Like this sort of stuff used to work, right? This sort of stuff used to work. And what is different? And it didn't work super great, but at least it existed. At least it worked to a certain degree. Jeremy Scahill famously talked about how he used to get fucking secondary questioning or detention all the time when he would enter into the United States, because he was in Yemen, he was in Afghanistan, he was in Iraq. He was like traveling all around the region and doing journalism. And even under the Obama administration, he would constantly get dinged, right? There's never been a moment where he's ever been able to travel into the United States without additional scrutiny and interrogations. And it got to such a degree that at JFK, he lucked out and got the same DHS agent twice, which in two different points of travel. And then the agent was like, what the fuck is this? Why am I constantly having to interview you over the same questions? And then he went and changed it internally so the DHS wouldn't actually stop him in the future. But again, that process had some degree of transparency. Like you have the law needs to be abided by, and there is a reason why the law exists. There's a reason why the law determines that like there needs to be transparency in this process, that the federal government can't just like deny especially when it's the government doing this. It's not a private company doing it, right? Like the Department of Homeland Security making this decision is infinitely more consequential than like a private business deciding to like ban you off the platform, right? Like there's no need for transparency. The transparency in that regard for a private corporation is at the discretion of the private corporation. But when it comes to the government making decisions like this, there is a reason why there has to be transparency, because it's the fucking government. You know, you're really wondering why our global entry was revoked, LMFAO, because you are in the U.S. with the luxuries. What the fuck? I think a lot of you are too stupid to recognize what I'm saying here, and it makes sense. You're a right-winger, so of course, right-wingers are not known for being intelligent. I'm not complaining about my global entry being revoked. Okay, I don't care. I traveled without it for years and years and years. But the very fact that they gave it to me and then took it away and then did not inform me on what the reasoning was beyond you do not meet program eligibility requirements, that in itself, that lack of transparency in and of itself is a little alarming. Do you understand? It's just a interesting predicament. You know the reason it was revoked is because you're bad at eldering? Yes. And I guess the other side of it is like, look, if it can happen to someone like myself, who is a public personality with a relatively large sphere of influence, who is relatively affluent, right? Then they can get away with doing whatever the fuck they want to the average Joe. People such as yourself in the chat who are haters and lovers alike. Okay? Name 5 Manchester United players. I can't. I'm wearing this because it's cool. What is this? TLDR, time to hold up and escape to Japan to avoid political prosecution. Transparency is gone, buddy. They want to be master veiled and kept in check so they can keep dick sucking Papa Trump. Palantir shareholder ATP. Anyway, as someone who is from Turkey, who grew up in Turkey, I guess I have a lot of experience with a lack of transparency and the clown show that is the government, you know? But that is one of the things that like every fob will tell you. Every foreigner, first generation, second generation, will tell you that America is different from all these other countries they came from. And these are some of the reasons, right? These are like being able to one, have free speech and wave whichever fucking country's flag you want to wave, for example, or even burn the American flag if you'd like to, and avoid government scrutiny for being a political dissident, and avoid prosecution for being a political dissident. These are things that don't exist in other countries, especially in developing nations, especially in countries that are countries like Turkey, for example, right? And even if there is any sort of like government intervention in your behavior, in the United States of America, there's supposed to be a little bit of transparency and an opportunity for redress. And I think that is going away. That is going away, which is kind of interesting. Might be time to pack up Kai and escape to Argentina. You're the largest socialist media figure in America. They used to do a lot worse to suspect the communists in America. The period that existed in the last few decades of pretty liberal free speech is over, obviously, but this is not unique to American history. As capitalism decays, it'll only get worse. Freedom of speech in America is a relatively new thing, and how it's been enforced in the last few decades, I agree. I said this as well. I told you that, I mean, on numerous occasions, that the freedom of speech in America is freedom of speech in America is a privilege. It's only a privilege that exists because America is not fearful of any sort of outside intervention, and not fearful of an organic, homegrown movement of socialism. It is not disruptive to the American bottom line, disruptive enough to the American bottom line until they decide it is disruptive. And at which point there will be no free speech, or at least the free speech will certainly extend. Free speech protections will not extend to disruptive speech that the government decides is not good, just as it did in the past, like the McCarthy trials against suspected communists. Red Scare. I'm just saying, it's on the books, it's technically a right, but in its application throughout periods of American history, it has been simply a privilege that has been considered not a right, but an amenity for those who don't step outside the line. Okay? I think that we experience the changes in government enforcement, even with like changes in government enforcement, even within like ICE agents wearing fucking masks, like federal agents wearing masks while they're doing illegal detentions and trying to revoke due process so that they can continue rapidly accelerating these mass deportations. That is yet another example of this. Like all of the things that we took for granted, I think, all of the things that we took for granted for like the past 30, 40 years is slowly but surely getting taken away from us. Okay? That's all it is. That's all I'm saying. And it is worrisome because as much as I criticize the United States of America, there are certain values and certain amenities, certain liberties that the American government offers that I've always defended, that I always considered to be good. There are aspects of liberalism and values that liberalism is supposed to maintain that I think are great, right? Some parts of our legal system I think are pretty solid. The example, the big three that I always talk about is obviously free speech. even though there have been times when America has not been so defensive of that right unconditionally. The other one, of course, is due process. And last but not least, perhaps the most significant aspect of American identity and American, the most significant aspect that is positive of America is its diversity. And it's ironic that the Trump administration is not offering any new amenities or anything good to the American population and simply removing those last big three, slowly but surely. You know? Do none of these things exist in Canada? No, they do to a certain degree. When I say America, I'm using a catch-all terminology. But like these are the bastion of liberal values that the Western world is supposed to identify with and defend. Okay, the reality is in other countries they don't have the same expansive protections that even the American government offers, for example.